Hello and welcome back to the show. In this extremely special episode, we are going to be talking about basically your entire natal birth chart. We're going to talk about Sun to Saturn, every single sign that it aligns into, and every house. And I do highly apologize for the delay of time it has taken me to develop this video. I have recently quit my job and I am starting a new job and things have just been crazy. But without further ado, your extremely awesome natal birth chart breakdown coming right at you. Hey, I've seen that chart before, and that's because Heather is a returning client of mine. So we are actually going to be taking an even deeper dive into this chart than we did last time. And if you are interested in your own astrology reading, then there's a link in my bio. So when it comes to Western tropical psychology astrology, what does it mean to be a sun sign Aries in the third house? When we are talking about the sun sign, it's important to remember that the sun is not necessarily who you are. It's more like how you project yourself. It's very much like how other people perceive you. It is expression. It is the center of your conscious focus. And you are focused on the self when it comes to learning, communication, and logical understanding. The way that you express yourself is with intelligent action. You are likely very witty and a jokester. I can see someone with this alignment constantly popping out with jokes while someone else is talking, and sometimes even throwing out a funny perspective during the wrong moment. Oftentimes, when somebody has the Sun-Aries alignment, they can be guilty of putting their foot in their mouth sometimes, especially because it's in the third house, and also you have Mercury-Aries in the third house, so... But we could talk more about Mercury later, and there's nothing wrong with sometimes putting your foot in your mouth. It comes off as you're more the person who just calls them as you sees them. If you have something to say, you're going to say it. And if you think it's funny, you're probably going to say it. You thrive when it comes to one-on-one conversations. You enjoy talking about yourself, but also have a passion for learning more about other people. This makes you a great candidate for being somebody who works with other people, such as like a service person, a salesperson, a real estate agent, a counselor. These might not be like your dream jobs, but you are proficient in these areas. Let's move on for now. I want to talk about your moon alignment in Leo in the 7th house. The moon corresponds with patterns, cycles, habits, the subconscious, comforts, preferences, and emotional needs. And recently I was just thinking about the moon and why it's represented by the mother. And maybe it's because the moon reveals the inner child within us all. But that's just the moon alone. So what does it mean to be a moon Leo in the 7th house? You feel secure in the realm of fun and games, especially activities that require following rules. Romantic relationships make you feel secure, especially within a dynamic where you feel like the leader or the dominant one. You have a subconscious passion for justice, entrepreneurship, and anything artistic pursuits. I would bet that you are a natural artist that has the ability to see the beauty in everything. If you have not given yourself the opportunity to explore an artwork of any kind, then I would highly recommend it. My guess would be that you find emotional security and comfort when doing art, when being creative. The moon does correspond with the subdominant or the subconscious personality. And so this is the personality that doesn't show itself as often. And just like we talked about in the previous video, you have an opposition between your rising sign and your moon sign. So this might feel even more unnatural to pursue your subconscious personality, but it is where you're going to find some security. And you also have natural talents when it comes to this area, such as artwork. Especially because this is all happening within the sign of Leo. It shows me that there is a part of you, the creative part of you, that's like bursting to get out. It really wants to express itself. I can see that you might have insecurities about coming off as like a show-off or somebody who's really arrogant about their work or something like that. And, you need to find a balance. Like, not every single time that you're trying to express yourself or trying to show off what you did has to be arrogant. It can be that you're just proud of your accomplishments, proud of your creative endeavor. Next, I want to talk about your Mercury alignment within Aries within the 3rd house. Mercury is the planet that represents the mind. It's about thoughts, logic, communication, small details, learning, polarity, and preciseness. So you're really looking at a triple emphasis on communication, thinking style, and mental energy. And it tends to come through bold, fast, and unfiltered. You literally think quicker and you speak quicker. Ideas come fast, sometimes faster than they can be refined. You can be very direct and blunt. You will say that thing that others hesitate to say. This alignment highly suggests that you are the idea guy. You love starting conversations or projects, and you probably find yourself in a good number of debates. You probably find yourself impatient when it comes to people who are thinking slowly or over-explaining. This alignment also suggests a very opinionated and decisive sort of person. You form conclusions quickly, but may not always sit with them long. Aries can be extremely passionate about a specific thing, but for a certain amount of time, and then they commonly get bored, which is a perfect transition into Venus Aries in the 3rd house. So now we are shifting from how it is that you think to how it is that you love, relate, and attract. You could say that Venus in Aries within the 3rd house is flirty fire meets fast communication. So Venus is the ruler of love, attraction, pleasure, beauty, and relationship patterns. In Aries, it becomes bold, impulsive, and hungry for excitement. This can mean falling fast, falling hard, and falling first. We, as the Venus Aries people that we are typically the initiators. Typically what you can expect from this alignment is a playful, teasing, competitive sort of flirting style. We are attracted to confidence, independence, and people that have a bit of an edge. The common issue with being a Venus Aries person is we oftentimes need a spark or stimulation, or we can lose interest pretty fast. We love the chase, and that's an important thing to remember if you are going to engage in a long-term relationship. And this is all happening within the 3rd house, so it's important to remember that words equal love. And I could bet that words are your love language. So texting, banter, joking, and talking, all of those things are like a need for you. If you want to feel attracted to your partner in a relationship, you need mental stimulation. To other people, you can come off as charming, but a little chaotic. You can also come off as exciting, magnetic, and mentally engaging, but slightly unpredictable when it comes to relationships. And there really is nothing wrong with that. The path of an Aries is self-discovery. And so something I've very much been noticing recently is that Pisces aren't the only ones who spend a lot of their life in solitude. Let's remember that Aries is 1. It's the first zodiac sign and corresponds with the number 1. And a lot of Aries people that I meet spend a lot of time in solitude, and their mission is self-discovery. So when it comes to a relationship, they need somebody who can respect that aspect of them. Otherwise, it's not going to work. You are fiery and free-spirited, and so if somebody tries to take that energy and put it in a cage, it's just not going to work. It is literally not who you are. Moving right along, we're going to talk about your Mars alignment that is in Taurus within the 4th house. Now this energy type is extremely different in texture compared to all this Aries energy we've been talking about. I would say that the Mars Taurus in the 4th house is slow burning and quite grounded. I would also say it's very deeply rooted in emotional and physical security. Mars rules over how you act, pursue goals, handle anger, and assert yourself. I'd also say that Mars corresponds with sexual energy. Now, putting that Martian energy within the sign of Taurus, well, now that fiery, impulsive energy gets slowed down and stabilized. This can make you a patient but persistent person. Like once you have committed to something, you're not the sort of person to just quit. I might have to take back what I said about being the sort of person that puts your foot in your mouth, because the Taurus alignment within Aries suggests that you actually move slowly and deliberately, not rushed or reactive. I would say that this alignment has a good balancing effect on the rest of your chart, where you are very dominantly Aries, but the ruler of Aries, which is Mars, is in Taurus, and Taurus is more calm and a bit more logically thinking when it comes to dealing with with situations. But this can also mean that you are stubborn as hell. But I should add that you are probably stubborn as hell when it comes to being pushed. The anger, it builds gradually, but when it erupts, it's intense and it's hard to stop. Now, this is all happening within the 4th house, so this tells me that you have strong protective instincts over the home and loved ones. My guess is that you put your energy into building a strong, stable, secure environment. You are making a safe space, and that makes me want to hang out with you. So now let's shift over and talk about the biggest planet, Jupiter, within Aquarius, within the 1st house. Now, this energy is expansive and it's a visionary. It's less about private drives or one-on-one relating and more about who you are as a presence in this world. Now, this alignment is a far reach from all the Aries energy that we've been discussing, and I would say it makes you a far more complicated person. And I mean that in a good way. You go far deeper as a person than what you reveal on the surface. This means that you probably go underestimated quite frequently. People just see you as being, oh, you're the playful, energetic one, and they don't realize that you actually go a lot deeper. So the fact that this is all happening within your 1st house tells me that you have an expansion of your identity. Like this has been happening your whole life, having to rediscover yourself over and over again. Psychologically speaking, I can see you having like this deep inner belief that looks something like, I grow when I am my most authentic self. Darker sides of this alignment can look like over-identifying with the wise one or over-identifying with the positive one. Another negative way that this could manifest is basically being avoidant when it comes to your own vulnerability. I am also a Jupiter in the 1st house, so I have firsthand experience to just how true this is, that you do not want to be vulnerable, you don't want other people to deal with you being vulnerable, you feel like you're basically annoying people or you're in the way or you're wasting energy, something like that. And we want to just stay in this realm of optimism. But negativities aside, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, but it's also the planet of good luck, good fortune. So when it comes to being part of a community or starting your own community, starting any sort of friend group whatsoever, this is an area that you have good luck, that you will find positive feelings. Especially if this community or this friend group can accept you for your weirdness, for all the things that make you unique and different. That being said, embrace your weirdness. Embrace all the things that make you unique. If you are considering changing up your fashion in a strange way, do it. I'd recommend it. Now, this might sound strangely specific, but I think that you would thrive or at least be very entertained if you looked into topics that are basically like the science behind spiritual matters or the science behind religion. For one, you'd be a great spokesperson for those topics specifically, and it could be a good career path. Jupiter's philosophy and Aquarius as the scientist, and then you have that Mercury Aries, which makes you a great debater. I would love to see you talk about these things. Next, we are going to talk about the Saturn-Scorpio 10th house configuration. This is the sort of placement that shapes a person through pressure. What you are looking at here is long-term transformation. Saturn is a slow mover, staying in one sign for 3 years before he moves on to the next one. Now, this slow-moving transformation is going to be most clear in the areas around identity, power, and public life. Now, when we are talking about Saturn, it's important to remember that Saturn represents structure and limitations. He represents fear and maturing. Saturn corresponds with where we feel inadequate, but he also corresponds with the area where we build mastery. Saturn is basically the authority complex that we all have within us. Saturn is that part of you that demands discipline and accountability. You know, the part of you that feels shame. Now, Scorpio is about deep psychological matters, and it's about a pursuit to learning how to control your emotions. Scorpio is on a path of learning vulnerability and understanding power dynamics. Scorpio is about dealing with trauma, and most of all, Scorpio is about transformation. This alignment makes me think of a person that life is literally forcing them to mature, forcing them to transform into something else. This is all happening in the 10th house, so my guess is that life has continuously shown you the importance of money, the importance of having a good job, and the importance of how other people are perceiving you. And what I mean by that is your public image, your reputation. Now, something else about Scorpio is Scorpio has very strong spiritual correspondence. Scorpio also corresponds with occult or secret knowledge, so I know that you would be a profound astrologer or magical practitioner, or even any kind of religious authority. You would actually take this stuff extremely seriously, be detail-oriented, make sure that you're doing everything correctly, where a lot of people don't take this stuff so seriously. Saturn has put you in very difficult psychological situations that have forced you to grow, forced you to mature. And you could take these very difficult lessons that you had to learn and you could teach other people, and I believe that they would thank you for it. You could make a career out of it. Breaking it down in simpler terms, I would say at the beginning of life, Saturn is more like, I'm afraid of being exposed. I'm afraid of losing control or publicly failing. And later it evolves into, I have faced the depths and I have faced the hardships and I am able to now lead other people through that. Thank you for joining me. I do hope that you enjoyed that and maybe I helped bring some insights to you. Please let me know what you thought in the comments or a direct message. And if you are interested in your own astrology breakdown reading, check out the link in my bio.